他是我家那边的这哥们儿，今年12月份就去北卡州立给我面试。
Hi everyone, I'm Wen. I'm a second year PhD student in the chemistry department here at MIT, and I'm one of the two co-chair for the Committee on Scholarly Interaction here at Sydney Pacific, alongside with Georgia. The purpose of the Committee on Scholarly Interaction, or CoSI for short, is to foster and promote scholarly cross-departmental interaction among the graduate students here at MIT. And to that end, we organize 5 lectures every year, sponsored by the Presidential Fellowship, where we host excellent lecturers to guest tell us about a diverse range of intellectual topics. And with that, I'll hand on to Georgia to introduce our housemaster.
Perfect, thanks, Wen. So today we'd like to introduce Julie Shaw, who's the Associate Housemaster here at Sydney Pacific and an Associate Professor in Aeroastro. So we're really excited to have her here today with us, and she'll introduce our speaker for today.
Hello everybody. It is my pleasure to introduce today Professor Sadoway, who will be giving our very first CoSI lecture of 2015. Professor Sadoway will be sharing his work on electrochemistry, energy efficiency, and batteries, as well as his insights into how to make the world a better place through innovation. If you have not seen Professor Sadoway give a talk yet, you are in for a treat. I know this because I have seen him give many talks. I was in the freshman class that he teaches in the 2000 to 2001 time frame, and he is an absolutely legendary teacher. So his class, Introduction to Solid State Chemistry, in 2007, had half of the freshman class enrolled in it. And through his outreach on OpenCourseWare and media, he's been an inspiration to students around the world in terms of getting hooked into science and chemistry. He was named in 2012 one of Time's top 100 influential people of the world. I don't remember if I'm saying that title right, but Time's 100 top influential people of the world, and was even on the Colbert Report, so a legitimate celebrity. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Professor Sadoway.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I've never been to Sydney Pacific, and I guess it takes an invitation to bring me here. I really value the interaction with students. So I've got a slide deck here, but I'm going to start with some personal comments, and then I'll jump to this just to say that we touched bases here. But I want to make the commentary period shorter so we have sort of more questions for the audience. So I'm going to talk about innovation, liquid metal battery, and whatnot. But let me begin by telling you a little bit about myself, because I think that the personal revelation is probably valuable, so that everybody can see that there are connections that you might not imagine. So I would begin by saying that I'm the grandchild of immigrants from Ukraine. My grandparents came on my father's side, it was still Austro-Hungary. On my mother's side, it was newly formed Polish Republic right after World War I. So I was born in Toronto, and my parents lived with my grandparents. I didn't speak English until I was about 3 years old. All we spoke was Ukrainian. Perhaps you can tap some vestiges of late 19th century Ukrainian dialect in our speech. Growing up in British Canada was quite a spectacle in the 1950s. I was born in 1950, mid-century modern. So all the Mad Men stuff, that's me. So although actually Don Draper is about 5 years older than I am. But to grow up in British Canada at that time and not be of Anglo-Saxon extraction, it was tough. People knew who you were. They judged you by your last name, and there were really tough barriers. So I went to the University of Toronto and graduated from there, and then got a fellowship to come to MIT as a NATO postdoctoral fellow. That was 1977. idea was to come to MIT and spend a year or two and then go back to Canada. And I guess I lost track of time. I've been here ever since. I hired on the faculty in 1978 and been in the material science department since then. And it's been a fantastic experience. We have our detractors. MIT is the school that everybody loves to hate. But I can tell you that from my perspective, it was really a good fit. And it brought things out that I didn't imagine. If I'd stayed in Canada, I would have been a really good teacher and really good boy who always paints between the lines and so on. But what happened when I got here was just my eyes were open. And I remember when I was getting ready to leave, so I'm getting very personal here, so you can tune out in about 5 minutes. I remember my grandmother was still alive when I was leaving, and she said, "Oh, you'll be all right." And I said, "No, I'll be back." She said, "You're never coming back." It's part of the jumping, the search for something better, and she just knew that I'd be gone. And it came to pass. And I'm really glad because, you look at ecosystems here and, people like to be very condemnatory of the coasts. Let's say the Bay Area and Boston, they think they're so good and so on and so forth. It's true. I'm an Arab East. I came from Canada, and I'm very polite, so I didn't say this, but the ecosystem here with MIT and Harvard, all the degree-granting institutions here, it's stunning. And the same with the Bay Area. I'm not going to say bad things about the Bay Area. It's also a fantastic place. And there are good people all over the world. I'm not going to suggest that. I mean, I came out of Toronto, and obviously I must have got something that made me worthy to stay here. But there's something about the vibe here that's really, you can feel. You walk down the Infinite Corridor, you can tell who's a tourist, who isn't, because the tourists are really moving slowly, and everybody from MIT is, the door opens and they're down the corridor. So, and that's infectious. And, in Canada, it would be sort of, that was really great, you should be so proud. In the United States, here, that's really cool. What's next? There's no sitting on your laurels. And that can bring the best out. So anyways, that's a little bit of the background. We can return to that question here. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about things that I've learned here. And so I'm going to talk about energy storage, but the main thing is about the innovation piece, because I know there are people here from all schools, so most of you don't care at all about electrochemistry. And I understand that, but maybe there are some transferable messages. So the first thing is that the subtext here should be cost-based discovery. If I told you cost-based engineering, you'd say, I get that. That's what engineers are supposed to do, is figure out how to squeeze out the fat. But when it comes to energy, energy is unlike anything else, because the scale is so big, and the price point is so low, and the incumbent technology is so deeply entrenched and so heavily subsidized. I mean, petroleum and gas are some of the most subsidized commodities we have. And so if you're going to displace them, you can't just invent some cool idea and then hope that the manufacturing people will chase down the cost curve. It's not going to make it. It won't. We saw lithium-ion batteries. I mean, A123 is a vivid debacle of just colossal stupidity, where people are thinking a lithium-ion battery is going to make it where? It's way too expensive. I could have told you that on day one, but I had to be quiet because it was a colleague at MIT, so I sat there and watched this ship crash. So if you really want to make a dent in this arena, you have to think